Welcome to It's a Simple Podcast, where we ask one simple question and have one simple drink. Across from me is Christina Downey, who is the head of marketing at the fastest growing low-carb pasta brand in the country. And to my immediate left is John Galeka, who has the premier marketing and branding agency in Chicago, Galeka Plus.
Glad to be here.
And I'm Brian Guadagno, the CEO of that same pasta brand. Cheers to whatever we're about to do.
So one simple...
It's a simple podcast.
A simple podcast.
a simple podcast.
A simple podcast.
Good. Well, we're glad to be here.
Are you?
Right now we are.
Have you ever had this before?
That's lovely.
It's really nice. It's a good brand.
Nice. Honey oats.
Lay this prompt on us.
All right. What's a logo?
What is a logo?
A logo.
What's a logo?
What's a logo?
And what's it mean? What's a logo mean? What's it do?
And let's talk for 3 hours about it.
Oh, you're going to go so many sideways directions and I'm going to force it.
Shall I start here?
I think you would probably be best to do the start.
Yes, I don't know. I've been selling these things for years.
What do you think a logo is?
So,
Well, my question, you could ask, what's a brand? Is a logo a brand? Is a logo something just static? Can a logo be changed? What does it mean? What story does it communicate? I mean, there's a lot of things around a logo. There are brands that you can take the logo off and you can still tell exactly what that brand is. Other brands, the logo, you may not. So what is a logo? What's it worth?
well, I would say it's worth, like a brand, it's different and it's relative to time and place. And a logo is a small piece of a bigger, what I'd consider the big B in branding, right? So a logo, end of the day, is a simple visual representation of the brand, sometimes the name of the brand and sometimes a piece of the strategy, and a piece of art that is used repeatedly to give consumers something to hang their hats on, if you will. And it's an old tool. It is channels in branding have expanded. It's something that people have broken, built upon, rebuilt across the board. But it is only, I would say that a logo is a very important piece depending on the life stage of your brand, but it's a small piece of an overall brand strategy.
Brian, what's a logo to you?
I'm going to go with what John said.
That's bullshit. I'm going to give the bullshit. I know you look at logos and I know you say things about them. What does it mean to you? Like, pick Poppy, for example.
Uh-huh.
Their logo has a certain typeface. What's it mean?
I think Poppy has logos for legal purposes, but I don't think of Poppy as a logo. I think of Poppy as a brand.
Tell me more. Why?
Because their brand transcends the logo on the package. The logo is a point of reference, a point of recognition that draws you to the brand, that evokes a sentiment, a feeling about what that brand stands for.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Is that all you got? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I said, give a very recognizable logo, Louis Vuitton.
Not recognizable.
I had to think about that one.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Like, it sounds like a nice bag.
All over their bags. That LV, no?
Oh, that pattern?
That pattern, right? They've turned their logo into...
We're not their target.
Okay, not their target. Okay, I'll pick a different one. Nike, the swoosh.
Uh-huh.
What's the swoosh worth to Nike? Just a logo you can translate. What's the swoosh worth?
I think when they initially bought it, about $80.
Yeah, right? Like the person who designed it, right?
I think they paid their poor graphic designer just a few cents.
Then they paid her a lot more later.
Yeah, they're good people.
They're good people, right? So, but what was that logo worth to the brand? People wear it all over. They pay good money for people on their football jerseys and things.
They've done the work, right? And I mean, right? It's a symbol of, the work they've done. It's a symbol of commitment to, being a great athlete. It's a symbol of going in. They've taken it from a logo that represents their brand to a logo that I can take and put on, my shirt or my shoes and say, yeah, I give a shit about sports.
So question on that. I'm going to push on that.
Yeah.
So is it the logo that people are putting on or is it the brand they're putting on? Is the logo the empty container that gets filled by the brand? Or is there some vice versa?
I think you may know the answer to this one, but the logo is I think personally the container that the brand, it's a vehicle, right? It's one tool in the toolbox, right? That represents that expression. It can change.
It can change. Okay, so Brian, someone just changed their logo recently. A certain restaurant
Sure.
And it blew the F up all over LinkedIn, and everyone had to have an opinion on it. And shout out to Matthew Newman, our CCO, who always says opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And it was all over LinkedIn, right? And because they took an aspect of their logo off. Did that by nature change their brand then?
Yeah, I think it did, because the logo is a representation of what the brand stands for, and the brand values and the way that consumers interpret the brand values. Actually, I think that's a better way to say it. The way the consumer interprets the brand values more specifically. And so that change, whether intentional or not, or whether that's what they meant or not, communicated to the population or the consumer base at large, or prospective consumers, that their values had shifted. And I think that's why there was disappointment or upset.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me, we were talking on the way about that logo, and did they do the work? They did the work.
Yeah.
They tested it out. They had the conversations. And was it their consumers and their potential consumers who were the loudest, or do people go where the noise is on some of that stuff?
Well, I think, I wrote a little bit about this for our PR, but I think that by all measures, they did the work. They did good design. They built a great design system. They thought about every little piece of the brand, the big circle of the brand. They tested this in market, except the one piece that their consumers cared about.
Did they go back? They shifted the
They
logo
went back.
They went back here.
See, that's the one move I don't agree with.
What?
Because I agree, they did the work. I like the logo.
I like the logo too.
And I think that buzz, while it felt bad in the moment, probably to them and their corporate team,
Yeah.
there's nothing that fundamentally changed about the business or the product offering.
And that gets me to the point about the logo then. Is it the logo?
Well,
Sales have been down. They haven't seen stuff, but
let
they
me
changed the right thing.
No, let me finish that
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Right.
So they committed to something. They got a lot of people talking. I think they gained a tremendous amount of trial. Like, how many people did you see in the comments section of some of those posts talking about, never been there, I wanted to stop in, I wanted to see what the experience was like?
Yeah.
How many new consumers or customers did they get because they got all that attention? And also, if you're going to do something, you commit. It's like, I remember when Netflix raised their price from like $6.99 to whatever they went to,
Like $14.99
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah, I remember.
and there was this uproar, like everyone was, I'm canceling my subscription. And no, you're not. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to cancel your subscription. You like the service. You're going to stick with it. And ultimately, that's what they did. But I remember the stock just tanked. It absolutely cratered. And Netflix is what Netflix is. It's not about. I think the logo is it's a point of reference. It's a first pass. It's something that people can judge and critique. But in this case, I think the work they did a great job. Honestly, the logo did what it was supposed to do. It caught attention, just not in the way they expected.
Yeah.
And the mistake they made was not sticking with it.
Yeah, I think one of the mistakes they made also is not telling their story out in front, right? They let the CEO whoever didn't do a great job of telling all the story. And so people heard bits and pieces.
But I don't know that they needed to tell the story. It doesn't, I don't know that it even matters. Like,
But more people, I think,
here's where I'm going to push back.
Yep.
Like, to what I've observed, like we started a brand, we were called It Skinny. And we started a post on TikTok, and what I saw is that people were taking the brand in a direction that I had not intended. And then it's our job to assess that and decide, is that what we stand for in the direction we want to take the brand? Are we comfortable with the way that consumers are taking it, or do we want to fight back and make a pivot based on this feedback? Do we like it or do we not?
Yeah.
So if it's a question about values and the way that consumers are interacting with the brand, and if you can live with the values that people are projecting onto you, I think that's one thing. And then you can make a pivot if you choose. On the other side of the coin, if you've made a decision to pivot based on values, and that's more aligned and authentic to you and where you want to take the brand. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what their values are. I'm not projecting that onto them or whatever they stand for. I don't know. But there's a reason that they made that change, and they were pretty grounded in the rationale. And to then undo it based on the backlash, is disingenuous. So now they're not. Now I think that's incredibly damaging. And I don't think it has anything to do with like they should have done this better. The consumers are taking the brand or they're taking the logo in a way that they want. And look at all like if something had fundamentally changed about their value proposition, or if people were really boycotting them because they weren't. I think, and we didn't even have enough time to assess whether or not they were. Then sure, you can make a decision based on data, but. I don't know that they did anything wrong. I think they did everything right except for the pivot back. That's my perspective on it.
Yes, they quickly did. They Tropicana that.
Yeah. So then, who owns the brand?
That's a really good question.
Well, in the case of this brand, the consumers do.
Or did they just get owned?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The brand got owned.
They got owned.
And see, that's my point with the brand story. I way back in the day when Federal Express became FedEx. They kind of, I would say they controlled the narrative and told this bigger story of why they were going from Federal Express to FedEx. They changed the logo, brilliant logo design, their new logo, but they told the story and they told it in that came from the brand. If you don't tell the story, it's hard. Other people start taking it quickly and stories develop like that, So I do think like
that's what you want though. They were just upset at the way that people were taking it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they were. But sometimes you can help control the narrative.
Yeah. That's valid. Yeah.
I would have loved to see the story behind, because like I said, they had this incredible design system.
Yeah.
They had this open store concept that they had done. Everything held together.
That's a great point. Like if they were to come out and say, this is the why, like here's the thought and the depth that we went to in order to make this decision.
Yeah.
I think people would care.
I'd listen.
Yeah.
I'd listen.
Yeah, at least hear.
You come and talk to me and tell me the why of a brand.
Yeah.
Like I'll sit and listen. And a lot of times I'll take, like a human, I'll take the pieces I want.
And how does this change help you accomplish the goals of what you're trying to accomplish in the marketplace? Are you trying to do good? And is this furthering that mission?
Yeah.
And why?
I think, right, for everything I've read, they had great intent. Yeah. They had intent to open up this brand, to grow it, to build on, they busted their ass for 30 years, build this thing. Like my job as a CEO, as a brand manager is to keep this thing alive. I think they've had genuinely good intent to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to me a little bit to like Apple and Steve Jobs around the consumers can't tell you where to go. They can react to it, but they can't tell you where to go and where to be. That's our job, right? And so what is the role of consumer and brand? That's a really good, what is the role? Because they know where a brand is at a point in time, and they're not caring about your sales, and they're not caring about investments, and they're not caring about all the other practicalities, and they have no idea where it's going. So, but yet and rightfully so, they have an ownership, especially if they start, it's like a band. I always liken it. It's like a band. When you first saw like a band that was smaller and only a few people knew about it, you have such incredible ownership as you watch it explode. And if they start doing new music, you're like, no, man.
Yeah, I like the first album.
Yeah.
I like the demo track.
Yeah, you're right. But now it's gotten much more popular. And you're like, yeah, but they were, better back in the day. I think there's a lot of people who buy brands that feel that way. There's a lot of ownership, especially with startup brands. Like I help create you, I help craft you. And when someone pivots, they get nervous. So what is the role of that in the brand, do you think?
I mean, I think consumer research is, we got to do it. It makes sense, but it has this amazing ability to just show you the present, right? The perception of the present. It can't show you the future.
Right.
But it can give you a very clear picture of where things are at now. And you have to make those decisions yourself and understand that that's a clear picture. Because, what was that it was Henry Ford. He said, if people, want it, they just ask for more horses.
Right.
Instead of a new car. And they would. I mean, I would too. I'm a consumer. I'm buying, I'm living in the present, period. Right. And my window and context with your brand is about this far as it should be. And when talking to consumers, I should understand that when I'm talking to them. It doesn't mean I should ignore them. It doesn't mean I should not pay attention or use some of that data, but not all of it. And consumer data is a very, or even, even growing up as a UX designer and doing user-centered research, it's a double-edged sword because they know where they're at now. They don't know where they want to go.
All right.
And that's not, it's not mean. It's not that they're not smart. It's just that they're collectively, we're this much of their world as a brand. They're collectively paying attention to these things, and that's it.
I think
I was just wanted to do the call that we were just on. The 80% of the consumers that are we said less evolved.
Yeah, less evolved.
Less evolved.
Yeah.
80% of the consumers that don't know what they want yet, so they're less evolved, and we need to show them how to step into their evolution.
Yeah. I mean, help them out. Help them take the next step. Don't make them in that next step, right? Like I think sometimes as marketers, brand people, designers, creatives, we want to go here. And we forget that we have to build this bridge to take them, along this journey.
Yeah. I shouldn't say 80% of our current consumers. All of our current consumers are fully evolved.
They're brilliant.
The 80% of the prospective consumers that need to evolve into being consumers because they don't know what they want yet. Yeah.
We're open to you. So in this world of all data drives,
our current consumers are operating at full brain capacity.
I mean,
you know what's up.
You have to pay attention to, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to give a shit about your body. You have to give a shit about the world around you to, take a premium product.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to take it to, since we have a founder, talk about from a founder perspective, especially a founder perspective who loves data, because that gets tricky what he just brought up, right? Because now if you're basing everything on data, like the data says this, the data says this, and you want to test. But data can only show you present to a certain, there's a little forward. But so when you're doing something like this and you have someone like me in marketing coming to you, and it's a little more art than science. There's some science, but there's some art on some of this in building brands. How do you grapple with that?
Sorry, how do you grapple with
that? It can't be a solely data-driven thing, because even talking to consumers, they can only see here. Any of the data we get is a point in time. Like, how do you grapple with the aspects of logos, branding that's more on the art side of things, knowing where we're going?
It's a difficult balance to manage the data-driven side and the creative side. I enjoy the creative side. I think intuitively we all know what we like through a creative lens. I think creating the manifestation of that in the physical world is a little bit more limiting for someone who's not intrinsically creative. But I think we all know in our brain what we want to see. Just creating it is a little bit different. And on the data side, so data can, I think, come from different planes, right? You're either trying to validate a thesis, or you're just looking at data objectively to try to create a thesis. And I think data analytics, for me anyway, is creative in and of itself.
100%.
Yeah. So from like a brand perspective, I lean heavily on people. So I come up with theses, right? I push back on you on a lot of things.
No.
Or I'll bring you, I'll bring you some thoughts. Like, hey, I'm seeing this. Does this, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Like through a creative lens, how do we effectuate this in the real world? So leaning on people that actually have creative prowess, I suppose, to validate thoughts and ideas.
We gamble enough here.
Yeah. I don't know if that adequately answers your question, but
it is a give and take. And so I'm going to advise. So you're the person, to me, you've got the risk a bit, right? In part because you're not just a CEO, you're a CEO and co-founder, right? So founder gets that's deep, right? You created, I would say that's creation. You created this. You helped create this with a lot. And then you have other people saying, well, what if we did this and so you have to be very open to that. You're at an agency.
Yeah.
How do you work then with founders on things, whether from a brand or a logo perspective, to help them open up some of that creativity, take some of those risks that aren't as much in the data, particularly after what we just saw, because there's going to be a lot of people after that Cracker Barrel that aren't going to want to take risks. Let's just admit it. A lot of people are going to be very risk averse given that. How do you push past that?
I mean, I think, our job is to keep that openness because it matters, right? Keep, paying attention. What can we learn from Cracker Barrel? Don't go, oh, that's just a cultural mistake. That's just a thing. Understand all the things they do right. Keep talking to people, right? There is, I kind of knocked, all the collective consensus of data, but there's also a value to it. Especially as a creative, because if I know the average, I know how far I can go from that. I know how far I can guess based on history and risk tolerance and how far I can get from that. So, my job's not only it's not to push you off the bridge. It's just to keep you open, keep you looking, have the widest aperture humanly possible, keep challenging us to ask those questions. And if you do that, I think odds are you'll start to see the same thing.
Yeah. I've also found that when you let creative people just cook, they tend to do their best work. So I can feed you with prompts, I can feed you with data, I can feed you with sentiment, but ultimately just do your thing, right? This is your art form. It's not my art form. So
yeah.
I am going to call BS on that.
No, I think that's
no.
fine.
And why I'm going to call BS is because you are creative and you don't give yourself enough credit on that. And I think a lot of people that come up in you came up in financials, they're like, a creative is this and a non-creative is that. Some of the best ideas we've taken, right? And I do, and that's what I'm going to call BS on it.
Yeah.
Because I do think
if you give me a shit idea, I can say that's a shit idea, right?
But you can also give input.
But
so
if you give me a good idea and it's actually a good idea, we're going to run with it. And then going back to
you bring good ideas. You bring seats. Everyone on our team brings stuff. And that's one of the things I guess I personally will have railed against in my career is you're an accountant, you're a creative, you're a financial person, you're this. I think we all have that, and some of the best ideas come from all different places, and then someone else polishes them.
I also believe at this point in my life, and maybe it's because I haven't had on the marketing side a catastrophic failure. Hopefully we don't.
Are we knocking on wood? Drink to that. No, not.
Yeah. But at least on the business side, we've had some major setbacks, right? But you have to keep moving forward. And I think if there's anything to learn from that Cracker Barrel fiasco, it's just if you make a decision, you commit to it fully. They weren't wholly committed to it, which tells me that maybe they weren't as convicted in their decision as they probably should have been.
That's a good point.
Make a decision, you commit to it, and you communicate why clearly, to your point.
Yeah.
And you go. And the more data driven you are, the more it validates the decision.
Yeah.
If you let data make your decision, but also create something that's fucking awesome based on that data, then that's a beautiful marriage between the two. Yeah. And if you can genuinely do that and look somebody in the eye and say, this is the why, then you might be more wrong than right.
Yeah.
But there are no real wrong answers. And you can push forward and still squeeze juice out of that in a way that's productive without completely crushing your business. That's my perspective on it. And that's my perspective with pretty much anything. There are no wrong answers. Use data, validate with data, create beautiful concepts, put them in the marketplace, try to win. And if people aren't dancing with it the way that you want, that's just more data.
Yep, step a little bit different. Learn.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Have you ever done that, John?
What?
Have you ever sold something have you ever pushed on something from a logo creative that didn't respond in the market?
I mean, a lot of times.
Okay.
I mean, I've switched the dance mid-market across the board with brands. And that could be in the form of, it's never been in the form of walking back a logo or walking back a position we all agreed on, but it's changing the way that position is expressed in the market. Can be the difference in, making the Cracker Barrel mistake and rolling back and rolling forward. And people, I was really attracted to what you said, right? The conviction matters. That's if you look at business in the lens of logic and emotion and decision making, right? That emotional side often outweighs the logic, but that emotional side, that confidence, people will naturally, if you believe in something so much, they can't see the future and they'll just naturally follow until you get there.
Yeah, there's a reason we're doing this.
Yeah, and your job's to get there. Yeah, it's not to.
Yeah, I value your perspective. If you don't like it, please give me more of it.
Yeah,
but there's a reason we did this, and until there's enough support to change my mind, And even if you did change my mind, you wouldn't hard pivot me to 180 back to what, like, I wouldn't go back to the fucking first thing.
No.
I would iterate from where I'm at, right?
Like we are moving from the point.
Yeah, you don't go backwards. You do not. I mean, sometimes you got to take a step back, but not when you put things out in the marketplace. That's hard to take a step back when you put things out from. That's hard, right? That's a massive fucking failure, taking a step back there.
That is a massive.
And they are solely responsible for taking that step back. They didn't have to do that.
Right. I think now some people said it was planned, right?
Maybe.
That was like the new Coke.
I don't think it was planned.
I don't think it was
That
planned.
wasn't planned. But it's crazy to me that people actually give a shit.
My son was up in arms.
I can take a step back and, we're looking at this more from like a professional kind of curiosity standpoint.
Yeah.
And like, what would we have done in that situation? But it's just crazy to me that people care that much.
Well, first of all, that shows something, right? I mean, people care that much. They cared about that brand, right? Even the problem was, did caring make them go there, right? So there is this nostalgia for what it was, but from my understanding, numbers were dropping off. Yeah. So and if you, I don't know how, in the past year, how many people went to a Cracker Barrel here? Okay.
Yeah. We go on every vacation, every family trip.
Are you going to stop going now? Would you have stopped going?
No, but I would worry that. So here, this is.
So maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Do you worry that the logo change is a sign that there are going to be changes in the way that the restaurant operates?
Correct. I worry that the
experience.
But the experience had suffered inside. Like, for my understanding, and I've been to my boomer parents, we go.
Yeah.
But the restaurant experience people have been complaining about for a while, having gone downhill. So they're also trying to get that to go back up.
Yeah, but yes, the restaurant experience is actually, they're super slow. They don't pay attention, miss orders. It wasn't a very good experience over the past. And I've gone to Cracker Barrel probably more than a lot of people in Chicago. I would say we make it a mandatory. My kids love it, but they love the running into the store since they were little kids.
Yeah. And that's why I hated it. It was like, it felt like I wasn't going to a restaurant. I was going to a store, and my kids had their hand out.
So it wasn't for you, but it's for your kids.
And there was a lot of joy to that. And the food, you'd go in there and I could eat some things I couldn't normally get at home. I could go get I love fried catfish. Yeah. And I could get some excellent $6 fried catfish and some dumplings that don't know what was in them, but they were so tasty.
Yeah.
And that experience was awesome.
We always played the game.
Yeah.
And play that game, which was super fun if all the pieces were there. And then, you get a little mad because you're like, we're on a road trip, guys. We need somebody to come here. And once they got there, it was fine. But so it was a weird mixed experience. It was sort of a wonderful thing. And we kept going and going and going because we had gone since the kids were little. It became, we're going to Cleveland to see grandma. We are going to stop at a Cracker Barrel. And that's going to be like, I'm going to get Polly Pocket.
So how does a corporation measure what needs to be? We were just talking about this before we started recording. When you're on some kind of AI service, you give them a prompt, they give you an output, right? And then you say, I would like everything, but just change this one thing.
Yeah.
And then they go in, they change the one thing, but then they change something else.
Yeah.
And then you're pissed off. No, you only need to change that one thing.
Yeah.
How does a corporation know what the one thing that you need changed is relative to what somebody else might need changed? Or is it consistent? Is it obvious? Is it just faster service?
Well, if I was doing something on that level with their money, and they had a big budget to do this.
Yeah. Wow. I love those budgets.
Right.
One day.
I would hope they were doing a lot of social listening. Not when. What I like about social listening is when you're asking in a focus group, it's in a controlled setting. They know the brand's listening. They know what's going on. You get groupthink. You get a lot of different things.
I love focus groups. It's the fastest way to sell my work.
Yeah. It's.
I always tell clients that you want a focus group, I'm selling my work.
Yeah. But social listening is what they're saying when they don't think you're listening, right? They're not hashtagging you, but they're talking about you. So you're understanding really what is the special, what are our heavy customers saying, what are the people who love us, what are the people who hate us, what are they complaining about? And to your point of, well, I'll go back to the beginning where you said, what's a logo? And now we're talking about the store.
Yeah,
because right is, and then you said the logo in part is a container for the store experience. So if
represents the entire, the logo represents every experience that John has had.
Right. So now
the bad service and the dumplings, the tasty dumplings, and his kids running into the store, all the memories.
Right. So if you sanitize that,
you gutted it. You just,
that's right. Like, so if you're sanitizing the logo, does that mean you've sanitized this? You're going to sanitize the store and take away everything?
Well, now I understand why people were so upset.
They're like, you are gutting all this.
You literally just killed all my memories.
Yes.
They're dead.
I'm going to take my kids here and they're going to look at me and go, Dad, this is not where, and walk out and never come back.
But
in the mind.
But if you went, but you'd still give it a chance. You'd be concerned, but you give it another chance.
Of course I give it a chance.
And then if you went back in, you had the exact same experience. We good?
Or better yet, if they delivered an even better experience. That food was on time. There was a whole new cool store in the back with all this stuff that my kids wanted.
So that happens. We good?
Odds are very high. We'd be great.
So
okay, now
I rest my case that they should have just kept going.
Okay, so then my next question is, all right, maybe there's only 500 Johns who are doing that.
Who are doing what? Who are
going to the store on family trips? You
think nobody's
but there's 2,000 people that won't go because of everything John loves. There's
but then John's going to start talking about it. John's going to say,
and
wow,
they're still going to be like,
the experience is elevated. Or he's going to say same exact shit, same experience.
But there are places, I assume.
Or I'm going to probably say they finally got my food on time and my kids got something better.
Yeah. But what there's the pool? What I'm trying to say is, what if the pool of those people are so small to the pool of people they could get if they changed a few things and made it a little bit higher end. Now, at what point in the pool of Johns, no offense, John, I'm not talking your age, but are starting to die off, they have to get this pool. Sorry, I went there.
That old?
You can get another, John, you can get another drink. It's all good.
Biological age. She's like,
we're not saying that on this show.
This guy's biologically 98. He's getting ready to kill him.
My doctor says, like, sir, you should be dead. Dr. Shibble's like, John, don't.
We actually didn't need this bourbon. He's got bourbon intravenously.
Oh, she'd murder me.
Yeah.
Did you take your medicine? Did you take your blood pressure medicine?
You did. I saw.
Oh, I did.
But that's a real thing that brands have to wrestle with, right? Like, my current consumer base is dwindling. I need to go after a new consumer base. Even if they're vocal and mighty, they're dwindling, and I have to go after a new consumer base. Brands face it all the time. Brands have been around for 100, 150, 200 years.
Yeah.
Guinness, 400 years, right? Something. Like, what point do we talk about, like, are we only going after these diehards, but they're getting smaller and smaller, and how do I track the new? It's a balance.
Yeah. Well, it's how far...
Maybe you don't announce it. Maybe you just do it.
Or I'm thinking about the bridge analogy I gave, right? We know as creatives we're going to be here.
Like the Kind Bar.
That was a great thing.
Did they really need to announce that? Seriously, did they really need to announce that?
The face tells everything. Yes? Why the face, John?
I mean... It was funny.
So,
I even laughed because I've been paid to do that before. After many like 9 months in a corporation, we've shifted these colors, changed this thing, added a new shade of blue to your design system.
10% less.
Yeah. Do we really need an unveiling for this? Hey everyone, just internally, here's the new brand. Push that out everywhere. Just change it. Is anyone going to actually fucking notice?
Yeah. What's the funny thing?
Do we really need to?
I think that's internal because the people who were inside that brand probably went through 8 months of consensus building, working with people, driving.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision. I'm just saying that unveiling was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah. Do we need to? Technically, no, but we're so exhausted as marketers.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great. Woo.
You have no idea humans who don't live in this world.
Like
that could have been an internal video. That could have been an internal unveiling. That didn't need to be external. They should have thrown a grand party. They could have spent $1 million on it. I really don't care. Internally. That didn't need to be a public thing. And so that raises another question. changing a brand or changing a logo, what constitutes the necessity to report that to the community externally or the community at large? Like, do you really need to announce that? Do people need to know? Maybe professionally they do, but to consumers? Or even if they don't need to know professionally, or let's say they do need to know professionally.
I'm looking at you.
Is that just an email? Hey guys, here's where we're going. Do we like?
It was.
Is this just like massive self-aggrandizing? Are we just too social of creatures now that we just need everything to be reported?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of us have said this is an opportunity, right? This is a potential opportunity to get in front of a lot of people. It's a moment that we may not have. We may not have had it in 5 years, 3 years, a year. And we're going, well, sales are down here. This is happening in the market. We need something.
To the point of like, do you have to make it announcement? It depends on the big change. How big? What are you doing? What do you want to say? But I do think.
Sorry, just to interrupt. I will acknowledge the irony of me saying that while I'm drinking bourbon.
Yeah.
I remember being on a.
There's a clean ingredient statement.
We were on an internal.
Yeah.
We were on a case study call. We were talking about call outs with Indiana University students. And we're talking about like how, like, what is the necessity of having non-GMO or organic on your packaging? And one of the girls was just crushing Skittles. And she's like, just think non-GMO is table stakes. Just crushing Skittles. Organic, okay, crushing Skittles. Like, but non-GMO, I won't buy anything that's not non-GMO. Crushing Skittles. Here I am. Yeah. And we have to acknowledge the irony of the way that people think about different products. Like, it's acceptable for certain product lines to be unhealthy. We've made the conscious decision that we're okay with our Skittles or with our bourbon. Yeah. But certain products need to be better. We hold certain products to a higher standard.
Why do we do that?
Well, because in my mind,
dualities.
In my mind, bars, like health bars, should be held to a higher standard. Personally,
because they're claiming it though.
They're claiming it. That's what I'm saying. That's part of their brand. Yeah.
The bourbon's not trying to say it's anything but good bourbon.
So it's expectation versus reality. It's be what you are.
Be what you are.
And if you're diverting from that, if you're saying you are something and diverting from that to cut cost or to add flavor, then fuck.
Well, that goes back to the logo we were talking. Be who you are. Maybe that's why the logo didn't work. They weren't trying to be who they are.
You got to be who you are. You got to be authentic.
Who you are. You got to be authentic.
Yeah.
I think in announcing something, it depends on the shift that you're going and what you want to say. But I do think having a conversation with people who are all in on your brand about any change is important, and to have that story be told, and tell it to them. People support brands.
Yeah.
You know,
and listen to them. Why?
Listen to them.
Dig in and ask them, like, why are you feeling?
We ask them to follow us on social. We ask them to do a lot of things. So I think, if they're doing that, they're invested.
So we're experiencing the evolution and the friction of old brands grappling with what has worked while they're trying to become more authentic.
It's hard. But I think authenticity is where you're right.
Yeah.
And what we've been saying was the new branding, did it feel authentic to who they were versus who they're trying to be? So that is hard. I think it is really hard. And humans don't like change. None of us like change.
Yeah.
We like the way, and we always look back at the past with rosy glasses.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No matter what age you are. When you grew up, it was the best decade. That's just period. You always think it's the best because you were 8 and you had no responsibilities. And of course it's the best. It was the best.
I actually think 90s were objectively.
I don't know if I love the 80s that much.
The 90s were objectively the best decade.
Bullshit.
Wow. Where were you in the 90s, Christina?
Okay, let's be nice. No.
Oh, that's the bourbon.
I was in New York City living some of my best life in advertising. So it wasn't
that's a bad
horrible. And then knocked up. I think we've probably talked logo and Cracker Barrel plenty. And I think there's consensus is you need to be authentic to who you are and where you're going and do it with conviction and stick to it. Like, brands know who they are and where they're going more than consumers.
Do it with conviction to the extent that you have done the work before you made the decision.
Yeah.
God help us. I hope people have done the work.
Yeah.
Like,
But I also hope they stick to it, because that is critical and hard. It's one of the hardest things to do when you're facing the headwinds of, people who joined you, who you love and admire, who just may not be your people anymore.
that's right. And I think we've talked about it in the past. I know there will always be people who will criticize, because that's the easiest.
I don't want to go down another wormhole.
Oh, yeah.
I'm envisioning just toxic relationships that you need to shed in order to
Well, I look at this as, I'll give it
let go of who you were to become who you're supposed to be.
You're a butterfly, fly.
So we have a successory poster we can put up here.
All right, so all
right, we didn't shut that down.
We can conclude. We can conclude.
What was
Drop your toxic ex. Step into something that you're meant to be. Do it with conviction.
And stick to it.
Stick to it.
And that's as simple as it gets.